Hello folks, welcome to another Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto. Whoa, what a day, what a day. Since yesterday researching a little bit, because it's sometimes if you are just analyzing the flows, if you want to know who is driving the market, what's behind, where's the money coming, and so on and so forth. I remember last year in July 21st when we started to push up very hard, and I said, what? Where's everything now coming from? It wasn't really clear to me what happened that day. We were just doing lower lows, lower highs. The market was not looking good at all, absolutely not. And then from one moment to the other, we started to push up very hard, very hard. And I started to analyze what happened, such kind of lessons learned. So let me see what happened to learn the lesson and to make it better next time. And then I just detected that FTX bought 75,000 Bitcoins. And I remember that in 2021, FTX was making investor rounds, fund rounds to get more money. If I'm right, 500 million. And I said, wow, maybe they used these 500 millions for that. But after the whole FTX collapse, or after all the information that's coming out right now, give us a better insight to what's happening. And I will be very honest to you, because that's my that's Inspo. I'm not going to talk or just to hide something. So I have started to check and to research a little bit everything about when I've seen this tweet mentioning that the bank that FTX bought, or at least they spent 12 millions or 100 millions, I really don't know now, this Farmington State Bank. And someone just tweeted also the from the San Francisco Fed, the approval that the Farmington State Bank was approved to become member of the Federal Reserve System last year in June. That was June 13th. And I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. Because what does that mean? Well, that means that you are able to have access to Fed money. And usually a bank doesn't have to make a deposit of the money that needs from the Fed. It's much less. So it gives you a better deal, of course. You have lower interest rates. You don't need that much liquidity to get the money from the Fed. So it's a nice deal. So now imagine just 3 weeks later, FTX purchased 75,000 Bitcoins. 3 weeks later, after this approval by the San Francisco Fed. And it was wondering me a little bit, because usually, I would say, okay, smart move. But the question was, one name appeared in it doesn't matter what I was researching, but every time one name popped up. Jean Chalopin. Never heard. So, but, I was reading more tweets and more information, and then I noticed, he's the chairman of the Deltec Bank in Bahamas. So the Deltec Bank is the banking provider for Tether, Bitfinex, and for FTX. But at the same time, in 2020, he was CEO of the Farmington State Bank, this huge bank with 3 employees or something. I'm not sure, but not big at all. Absolutely not big at all. But it seems with a big, big vision of their potentially, potentially, future. And he is currently still director. Now they rebranded the bank. It's Moonstone Bank instead. However, but it was very interesting because, Tether, liquidity, cheap money, FTX, a very crazy pump in July last year. Okay. So I was just keep researching what's happening there, and then I was missing the connection. Not only the connection, between Jean Chalopin and at the same time about, Deltec, Tether, FTX. Okay. Then I have seen that the same guy was shareholder and director of SIG. SIG is a big trading company, a really big one, and also big investors. So they invested money in BlockFi and Voyager. Oh, surprise, surprise. All these, they are bankrupt now. Because of what? Oh, liquidity problems. We remember now. We remember. Liquidity problems. Well, I mean, So the question was for me, where is the direct connection between all of them? Caroline Ellison, the last CEO of Alameda, Sam Trabucco, Sam Bankman, and we know that all of them worked for Jane Street, also another trade company. And the same company, their owners, worked before for SIG, where this guy, the Jean Chalopin, was working for. He was director, and so you see kind of connections. And the most interesting thing, what came to my mind, is this guy, Jean Chalopin, the chairman of Deltec. He was involved in different offshore operations, and they came out via the Bahama Papers or offshore leaks, for example, because they had also with his wife a foundation in Bahamas that also came out as an offshore foundation. However, so not really legal what he was doing, and using any kind of opportunities, it seems. But that's the whole connection that you then see. But the biggest thing is when the Fed has a list with all the board members and you see this guy, I mean, how can you approve a bank with such board members to receive direct access to the Federal Reserve System? That's something I don't know. I really don't know how to, I don't have any explanation for that. But if the Farmington State Bank on Moonstone Bank and FTX was required to maintain this market liquid, and I hope it's not the case, then we have a big problem. Because then FTX and Alameda both were the key actors in this crypto market related to liquidity. And if now we are done here, then we have a bigger problem. That also explains why certain entities didn't accumulate much more last year. Something I have mentioned, the market maker entities, they stopped, they distributed, they maintained their balances, but they didn't bought the pump in October and September to October, for example, something that it was, it was a little bit confusing me. But maybe that explains a lot of things now. I'm not going to research much more because it sounds really dirty, the whole thing behind, to be honest. But yeah, it doesn't look great. It absolutely doesn't look great. And if I have some other information, I will tweet and mention that. But I think, usually, and that's the big problem, usually a market has to defend for itself. It doesn't need to get liquidity all the time to survive. Because otherwise, it's a Ponzi scam. And that's the problem I have right now. It seems that the big part of the crypto industry requires this constantly liquidity that has to come in the market, otherwise it collapses. And that's what we are seeing right now. Not only about Voyager and so on, we know what happens there, but BlockFi now, we don't know about Genesis. First they said they need 1 billion, then they said they just need 500 millions. Now they are saying they are in debt by 2 billions. So it seems something is happening in behind, and we need to be extremely careful. And that's the only message behind of this chapter here. Just be extremely careful. That's it. Let us talk about the market next. So let's see what's happening here. So you can see the wealth ratio 1 day time frame declined very well. I was expecting, okay, we will decline even more, indicating we are done. We are really done. But it's not the case. It lifted up once again, so indicating we are not done. Instead, as you see, the wealth ratio 30 days moving average is lifting up again, indicating they are sending more bitcoins to centralized exchanges. And I was tracking them, also the balances, and yes, it looks like. So if we go forward, we can check, and that's what I said. We can see here that they dumped twice, and usually that means that we should expect something like a scam pump, exit pump, whatever. Didn't happen yet, and that's something it's wondering me, because I didn't see any big sell pressure this weekend, but nobody was buying as well. So nothing happened. That's really unusual. And usually, and that's my always when I say we will go up means we will go down before, because it's about, to liquidate the longs first. The late longs, when they are done, we will go up. That's, I think, in my opinion, mainly driven by exchanges, because they don't want to allow those guys to take profit. Take profit means for the centralized exchanges, to spend money. So they don't like that. In my opinion, that's the big issue here. So at the moment at 80, that's the 1 hour time frame, so it's not big at all. Usually at above of 90 we need to be extremely careful, but it's not the case. However, the Bitcoin price at the moment looks extremely bearish. I would be extremely careful with that. I'm still think we will see an exit pump. So go up once again, maybe 18k, 19k, distribute there, and then let's go sharp to the downside. We have a very, very tough week with economic data. We will talk about that later on, and that could bring some volatility back on the table. So we need to be extremely careful. I'm not trading, so I'm safe, but I'm not doing this video for me. I'm doing this video for you. So if we check that, in my opinion, we will go up. If you would ask me, hey, Inspo, would you go short here or long? I would say I wouldn't go short here anymore. Maybe hedging short and long at the same time. That would be, I guess, the best option, the best way to reduce my liquidation and just in case we go a little bit more down, maybe to close my short then with gain and to add more funds to my long and to make more money afterwards. But everything looks like at the moment we will go up. I can't say how far. However, we are still seeing here that the Wales ratio 30 hours moving average is not pushing up very hard. Right now, even declining here, while we did this dump here today or yesterday night. So at the same time, traders cashing out. They are just sending more stable coins out of the centralized exchanges, usually also indicating what I said just before. Liquidity is the key and core of such markets, and liquidity comes with trust. And when you see that trust is shrinking because you see how many liars are here involved in this market, I'm not only talking about Sam, we know a lot of other people. They are always telling you, hey, your funds are SAFU. Hey, don't worry, everything is cool, we are liquid. And 3 hours later they come and say, well, we filed Chapter 11, we are bankrupt. So, that's the big problem we have right now in this market. However, I still think that's going to be a nice catalyst to remove all these toxic actors from the market and even to become stronger afterwards. So, however, we are done here. Let us go forward. So if you check, for example, here we have seen, and that was very uncommon, after we dumped from 16,600 to almost 16, so just $550, $600, we received close afterwards almost 3,000 bitcoins. And afterwards more 700 bitcoins, here another 600 bitcoins, then another 1,300 bitcoins, and so on and so forth. And just 2 hours ago 1,000 bitcoins. So accumulating very short term just to push the price more down. Some are selling. That's miners. Yeah, miners, it seems, are starting to capitulate. Even if JP Morgan, I don't know if I can trust JP Morgan, but they said that if the production price for miners was 24K, now it's 13. And they said to bring a bigger stress test to miners, the price has to go down to 13K. If that's the goal, because we know that some big market actors have a big interest to change the code of Bitcoin to POS. I know we don't need to talk about that. It's a nonsense. Yeah, I know. But, we are not making the rules. So if that's the case, that someone is pushing the price down just to liquidate all these miners, means we are not done here. Absolutely not. But doesn't also mean we can't go up first, because to resurrect all these miners, that will take time. Even if we dump to 10,000, we have to stay there weeks, if not even months, so that all these miners can get liquidated. So in case that's the goal, just to tell that once again. However, I mean, we are talking here about a price of 16K once again, where they're selling. We will check the market maker entities, what they are doing. Doesn't look that bullish, to be honest. However, if we check that here, at the same time we had 1,800 bitcoins outflow, then here 3,000 bitcoins, 1,230, and so on and so forth. So someone is buying at the same time. Nobody knows who is buying, but I mean, at 16K, yeah, even if it's long term for the next few years, I mean, many of those who did a great deal in 2020, end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, they purchased big in 2018 and 2019. So that's long-term investments to make almost few thousand% gain afterwards. That's something we need to have in mind always, in case the market is not going to crash. But as I mentioned several times, I mean, what does that mean, crash? It doesn't mean that all these tokens are going to disappear. It's a catalyst. Many will disappear, but the big ones are not going to disappear. So long-term investments, depends on what you are investing your money related to crypto, would make sense, even in a worst case scenario of such kind of crash, for example. So if we take a look, for example, just to future market, I mean, the funding rate is still unbelievable, but still looking for more longs. Open interest recovering, but and even the leverage ratio after it declined very hard, stabilizing, but not really recovering. So I think it's not because people are adjusting their leverage or just investing less money. I think many are just leaving. And that's the big problem we have right now, even related to futures. And that's crazy. So if we check that here, we will find those 128,000 bitcoins here. Something I really don't get why it appears here, because I have tweeted 127,000 bitcoins were removed from the Binance Deposit cold wallet to an unknown wallet. In my opinion, that's a custodian Binance wallet, a brand new one. And it seems that was announced by Binance as well. That was part of the proof of reserves. They sent those bitcoins just to make such kind of, to verify the funds are there. And after the audit, they moved these 127,000 bitcoins back to another custodian wallet, it seems. However, it appears here, it seems that CryptoQuant has this wallet linked to derivative exchanges. I don't know why, but it is what it is. However, we are not seeing any big move here related to inflows and bitcoins, or for example, like here, nothing big happening even to stablecoins. So yeah, the market looks like it's, declining, but usually, when everyone is thinking the market is going to crash, someone is going to push it. We will see if that's going to happen. I still think we will see an exit pump. I mean, different sources, not only material signs, but they are also indicating, hey, big guys are buying. And of course, we have two options here. They are buying to nuke afterwards, so institutional stamp. They have a strategy. They don't care really about the money big, because it's like an investment for them, or they want to sell an upper level, and that's the big question. So nobody knows exactly what's behind. Futures aggregated chart also showing here, for example, open interest declining. That's a daily one. You can see that. Leverage ratio up and down afterwards, still too high. I mean, much higher than, for example, to all-time high. And the funding rate, as mentioned, here neutral, so indicating nothing big happening right now. If we go forward, that's Binance, and also here Binance also indicating the same as I mentioned, just funding rate declined, open interest not really recovering after October. So it seems since here the open interest recovered very well, and with that push to the downside, like nobody wants to touch anything anymore. Blockchain whispers, let us check what blockchain whispers is indicating. We have another 65 to 35% long short ratio in favor of longs. What should I say? Once again, on Ethereum looks much more healthy. If we take a look now to the Kingfisher, takes a little bit. No, I don't want. Let us see what's happening there. Whoa, 250 millions in liquidations on Binance. That's big, but to be honest, that's a little bit so what I expected. So I would say at least we should pump until here to liquidate all of them, because until there we doesn't have anything more. If we check that here, we will see it makes more sense right now to go here to liquidate them if exchanges wants to liquidate. And I mean, we are talking here about 64 million, 77 million liquidations, 58 and so on and so forth. Not that big, but we should go up to 16,700 for example. Otherwise we need to go much lower, hitting 14.7 or even 14k for example. So yeah, not bullish enough, it's at least, but also not that bearish. So let us see what's happening here. We have the Binance spot. We see that market traders are bearish, like how. The aggregated looks a little bit better, but not that much. Very volatile what they are doing here. I mean, that's coin margin contract, so Bitcoin collateral futures. That looks, wow, I don't know. Maybe also just short-term operations, even on futures with stablecoin, doesn't look great, to be honest. So if we check, for example, what Bitfinex is doing, Bitfinex, they started to buy very early, just November 22nd, for example. Market both, but not that big. Kraken at the moment just selling more than buying. Bybit traders selling since 16,600, so, and they purchased here, so it doesn't make any sense. While Coinbase at the moment, I would say they are reducing, at least the CBD looks more negative. And yeah, Bitstamp buying all the time, like Coinbase. If we go forward, we can check what retailers are doing. They are buying. Also here, balances with less than 100 Bitcoins or less than 10 Bitcoins lifting up even more. These guys here lifted up very well, now maintaining. These guys here lifting up but not that big. These guys, we know, they love to make quick profit. And market maker entities. We had here just 65, no, that was 66, yes, 60,000 Bitcoins in just few days. I have checked, and it happened because some wallets from these guys here reduced a lot. So they sold or they reduced the wallet balance and they shifted from this entity to the next one. That explains why it went up here and why it declined. I have checked that. I have tweeted about that even yesterday, if I'm right. And since then, nothing changed. But as you can see, the balances reduced from 60,000 to 40,000. No, even 30,000. So they reduced by 30,000 and lifted up a little bit once again by 10,000. So we need to be extremely careful with these guys here because, you know, these guys are still the market drivers and it doesn't look like they want to accumulate, at least not big. And what I said just before in my initial comment, if you, if you heard what I said there, you can see what I mean when I said these guys stopped to accumulate. These guys accumulated from 2018 until 2021. That was, mainly at that price here. Let me check. Is that the same price? So at a price of 40K, and then afterwards they start to distribute at a higher price, of course. But then last year in summer, they started to accumulate once again. Not big at all. So you can see they started to accumulate while the price was declining more. And then they distributed, and that's it. I mean, since then, they pushed up, down, pushed up. But in this year, everything started just in May this year. Something happened in May this year. They just started to distribute very hard. And that's something, they knew something. They knew something, otherwise I can't explain how these guys could just started to distribute in that way, reducing their balances more and more and more. That's really crazy. And I mean, we know what the price did afterwards. So we went from 47,000, almost 48, to now 16, and even lower. So it's really crazy. However, we have the correlation here between both. So if we check also their fund flows, you can see were prepared. 1,600 Bitcoins here, another 1,700 Bitcoins here, another 1,500 Bitcoins here. And what happens afterwards? We go down. I missed that a little bit yesterday, to be honest, but I mean, nothing has changed because of that. Because in my opinion, we will go up before down, and the down is going to be much more interesting. Wow. Okay. That's isn't that big. Why it looks so hard? That's the miners reserves. So we can see that the reserves went up, and then in August they started to reduce their reserves at the price. They started to reduce at the price of 24,000. That seems. Let me check. Yeah, 24,000, and that matches very well to the report of JP Morgan. They said that the production cost of every Bitcoin related to to miners would be at 24K, and it declined really in very short term to 13K. And it matches also very well because JP Morgan just said a few weeks ago they expect a bottom at 13K. What a coincidence. So if that's really the goal, to liquidate all these miners, then then 13K we will maintain there for a while. First of all, because some big guys will start to accumulate big, and they will wait until they liquidate all the big miners. And for Bitcoin, if you want to make any code change, it depends a lot of miners as well. So less miners, better opportunity to change the code, if that's really the goal. I really hope not, but what I don't get is why 12,000 bitcoins, they really sent 12,000 bitcoins out of their reserves. That's huge. Now I get that. That's really big. Okay, so miners have started to sell. I would be extremely careful then how far they want to go down now, because they have some Bitcoin still there. 1,841,000 Bitcoin miner reserves. So well, we'll see. Okay, I can check to the 1 hour time frame, and yeah, 1,200. I don't see here the 11,000, to be honest, not yet. So why it's indicating? Oh no, it was okay, it was wrong. Yeah, it was wrong. Okay, that's it. We don't have much more. OTC slow, centralized exchanges slow. Yeah, sometimes CryptoQuant, you need to be extremely careful, and sometimes you need to refresh the website, because otherwise, as you have seen, it gives you wrong data. Okay, but that's it. Let's just go forward. Well, just maybe to add this information as well, I have mentioned the balances, Bitcoin balances on centralized exchanges lifted up once again, also indicated by the weights ratio, but also, for example, to the net flows. And that was really interesting, because I'm still expecting we are not done because of that. We still have a big gap of almost 70,000, 80,000 Bitcoins. And usually that means that, and that would match also to my, preferred scenario of push up, distribute, and then sharp to the downside. So we will see if that's going to happen. It would also make sense for such kind of capitulation scenario, because many will jump in, will long, and so on and so forth. So we are done. Once again, we will go up, distribute, then sharp downside. We are not done. In my opinion, as long as market maker entities are not accumulating, as long we have still a big gap in Bitcoin balance on the exchange, we are not done. We are just not done. Doesn't mean we can't go $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 up, but we are not going to see any bull run. We are not going to see 30K, 40K, 50K, 60K, whatever. That's the thing. So we will see how far they want to go. But only if they go up to 25, 30K without any big accumulation by market makers, that just means it's even worse than we thought. So we will see what's going to happen. So let us see here. Coinbase at the moment, we can see that they did it once again. I was expecting such kind of scam double bottom because it's just stupid, but they did it once again. Will push up, hitting 70k as expected in my opinion, and then we need to see. I guess 18k still possible, maybe a little bit more up, and that's it. But however, related to walls, 17k on Coinbase, some sell orders here as well, hitting up to 18.5, nothing big, reduced liquidity to the downside, now at 12,000, reinforcing, would match to the 13k area, something I mean, I need to see the 13k. I can't expect that. It's not going to surprise me anymore, but you know, it's just so big. 13k. Wow. Well, we need to see. Deribit, futures, nothing. Bitstamp, spot. Waiting right now, it seems at 16.5, but also here at 17k waiting. Their sandwich, they moved to between 14 to 13, also matched very well to my expectations. Binance Spot still waiting here. We have a little wall at 17k, another one at 16.7, a bigger one at 17.6. And also here, that's it. They removed a lot of liquidity, just placed here. They moved this wall, it seems, 15.1 to 15.3. And also here, that's it. Bitfinex spot. A lot of sell orders here at 19 and here. So much less liquidity to the downside. It looks like they want to sell as much as they can. The whole thing is up to 21,500, so I would say even 20,800, but in my opinion 19k would be the max. If we go up, would be absolutely the max, but we need to see. OKEX spot, nothing. Kraken spot, Kraken at 15k, little wall at 15.6, that's it. Also some sell orders to the upside, but still enough liquidity to the downside. Bitget, nothing. BitMEX, waiting there at 17, so many are waiting at 17k. Binance futures, wow. Binance futures waiting at 17.6 like their spot. They want to long at 16k. And it seems here, oh yes, they longed very well here with the candle wick to 16k. So it seems it was maybe part of their strategy. However, not many shorts here. But still waiting here at 16k, so we need to see. But usually that's what it happens, you know, so they push the price up. So here you can see very under control everything here. Bitfinex derivatives, nothing. Kraken futures, nothing. OKEX futures, nothing. And OKEX swap, okay, they are selling bitcoins. And Bybit BTC USDT, something I haven't checked before, and also not looking great here as well. That's it.